Hello and welcome back. In this week's video we're going to be comparing my two Singer 20U professional sewing machines. Now on the left here we've got my Singer Professional 20U43 that I use every day now within my sewing room. This model is made in Japan. And on the right we've got the Singer 20U Professional. I'm not sure the exact model number of this machine. And this Singer is marked foreign, which generally means this machine was made in China. So I've just spent an hour measuring these machines so I can give you a good overview on where the small differences are within the physical side of the machine, the appearance and everything else. If you measure the bed of the machine, the lengths are the same and the widths are the same. There is a difference in the throat depth. The 20U43 has a ½ centimetre deeper throat, and they keep that extra throat depth all the way along. Whereas on the 20U Professional, there's much more variability in the throat depth, depending on where you measure it, but overall it is a smaller throat depth. ½ centimetre doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're doing quite a big project, it can make a big difference. The feed dog area on the 20U43 is set slightly further back. It's not by a massive amount. Again, it's something like 3 or 4 millimeters than what it is on the 20U Professional. The difference that makes though when it comes to accessing the feed dog areas and taking these screws out in order to clean that area is massive. Overall length, let's have a look. See, I've got my book here for notes. So overall the body length, the 20U43 is slightly shorter than the 20U Professional. And when you look at it from a front view as well, the front is actually slightly longer and slightly thinner. The big difference with these machines is when you come to sew with them. So as you can see here, the 20U43 has a slightly wider stitch when set to its maximum. So when it's set to its maximum stitch, it's got a 1.2 centimetre or 12 millimetre stitch width, whereas the 20U Professional only has a 9 millimetre stitch width. So obviously when you're doing embroidery and stuff, having a slightly wider zigzag stitch can be useful. Everything else is the same. So here is the different settings, the fixed settings, not the in-between settings for the stitch length. And if you look, these are exactly the same in both machines as well. So the next big thing I looked at was the build quality. So from an external point of view, the 20U43 is actually enamelled, which gives a much harder wearing finish. As you can see, I mean, this is a slightly younger machine. It's had a slightly different life to the 20U Professional. But overall, the finish has sustained really, really well. There's a few little chips and batters, but nothing significant. The 20U Professional is painted. And as you can see, yes, this machine has had a slightly harder life because before it's come and joined me here at the Littlest Sewing Room, but there is a lot of chipping and wearing on the machine bed and around the top, because obviously it's got pin rash here because someone's had a cloth to put pins in. But again, when it comes to these machines, we also have to consider the environments that they were in before I got them. So for example, the Singer 20U43 started its life at Liverpool University. After it left Liverpool University, it went on to a lady that was making rosettes and sashes for horse shows. Whereas this Singer Professional was in a factory. And it was used for many years by the same lady. And then when she retired, it was given to her as a gift. And then she chose to give it to a friend who later sold it to me. So this has had a lot more use than the Singer 20U43. And probably a lot less maintenance in its life, which will show in some other areas later on when I come to strip the machine down, and you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top plates and the face places off so we can look at the mechanisms inside and have a look at the quality of the build inside the machine. Let's have a look at the inner workings on the machines. First one I'm going to show you is the 20U43. So this is the inside. As you can see, it's got quite high quality casting. The parts are well cast. It is a newer machine, compared to the 20U Professional that I have. So again, that needs to be taken into consideration. And then this is the 20U Professional. There is some wear on the parts that you can physically see, but again, this machine has come from factory environment. But the things that I am particularly looking at is the quality of the casing. So the casing is a bit rougher, and the quality of the casting on some of the parts. So some of the parts, like this part here, if I compare it directly to the 20U 43, it is slightly rougher cast. So that is the internal workings. Everything is pretty much the same, because obviously technically they are the same machine, just different variants. So now I'm going to show you the underside of the machines, and straight away you can see there are some significant differences. This is the 20U Professional. It is made in China. The gears are very different to what they are on the 20U 43, and also this drive shaft here is very different. It's quite a lot thinner. We still have the double bell system, same as the 20U 43. Some Singer 20Us will only have a single bell, which is used for the raising the presser foot. But obviously, because these machines are designed for Irish embroidery, they will have the double bell, so you can use your knee lever to control the width of your zigzag stitch. So that is the 20U Professional. And this is the 20U 43. As you can see, the gears are much more robust. Excuse my wobbly filming. The drive shaft here is much more robust. Everything else is pretty much the same. Again, it's got the double bell for Irish embroidery. The gears around the hook area and the bobbin mechanism are pretty much the same, though they do look a bit more solid. So yeah, so that's the underside of the 20U 43. So while I've got both machines laid down, I thought I'd show you how they've managed to give the extra throat space in the 20U 43. And what it is they've adjusted the casting so that whatever piece of internal workings are here now are in this little lump, and then this spare space they've utilised by making the casting taller. Whereas when you look at the 20U Professional, you just move it to the side here, it doesn't have that little lump, and it's that little lump, that little extra bit of making space and adjusting the casting around whatever the internal workings are, that's given that extra depth in the throat space. Another difference these machines have is how the thread path runs. So as you can see on the 20U Professional, it's got this straight piece here, and the thread will run through the top and then down through the bottom hole. There's 3 holes, but it goes through the top hole and then the bottom hole, and then down and round through the thread path. On the 20U 43, we've got this little contraption here. Now, I've had people say to me that's aftermarket. It's not. It does come as standard on this machine. What happens is you run the thread through the top, around this, over the top of the circular piece here. So not all the way around, but over the top of the circular piece here, and then through this hole at the bottom, and then it threads up the same as the 20U Professional. The other bit that is different is where the thread runs through and then into the needle. So on this one, I don't know if this is an aftermarket part, if it's a repair that's been done at a later date or anything, but on this particular machine, the thread will come down and then it goes through a little hook here and then into the front of the needle. Whereas on the 20U 43, let me move you across and round, can you see that's just got a little hole? So when you thread the needle, the thread comes down through the little hole and then into the needle. So overall, as I've mentioned previously, the differences between the two machines are quite small, but I find as a user they make a big difference. So my preference for the 20U 43 are because A, the build quality is significantly better than the 20U Professional. It is a younger machine, so there's less wear on the parts. It has been better maintained than the 20U Professional before it's come to me. That will also help. The gears are so solid. I mean, as you've seen when I've shown you the underside of the machines, the gears on the 20U 43 are absolutely brilliant. They're really good quality gears. I find that the fact that the faceplate where the feed dogs are is slightly back makes a big difference to the accessibility of the feed dog area when you need to do any maintenance. So I'm not battling to find a screwdriver that I can get into that space. I can use my little, you can probably see it lurking in the corner over there, my little brown screwdriver that is always in my drawer, and it's really simple and easy to do. So yeah, that's why I prefer the 20U43. Maintenance is easier, the build quality is better. This is not a knock against the other 20U that I own, the 20U Professional. It is still a great machine. It's still got all the features I like. Yes, the zigzag stitch is a little bit narrower, but you know, that's fine with me. That 3mm difference doesn't always make a huge difference to me. It can do to other users, but it's still an absolutely brilliant machine. And you know, I've chosen to put it into storage. It does need a little bit of maintenance work on it. Within the feed dog area, there is a part that has worn slightly more than I would like that could do with replacing, that I'm not in a position to replace just yet when it comes to time wise. So yeah, so I use my 20U43 every single day and I absolutely love it. There are people that call them glorified domestic machines. I don't care. It is solid. It can run at speed. It does everything I need. I am in a small compact space. I only have space for a limited amount of machines. Now, as you all know, I've got my chain stitch embroidery machine, which takes up a space. I haven't got space to have a separate machine for zigzag stitch and for straight stitch. And obviously then there's the overlockers and everything else. And you would have that in an industrial environment. Sometimes you'd have, you know, one user that will always use the straight stitch machine and one user that will always use a zigzag machine. I need a machine that's slightly more versatile for what I do. I don't need fancy stitches, but I do need a zigzag and I do need a straight stitch, which is why when I was doing my research on what industrial sewing machine to get, because I was ready for an industrial sewing machine, I was getting frustrated at the slowness of the domestic machines. You know, I do find using a domestic machine, particularly now when I go back after using an industrial machine, to me they're so slow. They do a brilliant job. I've always used vintage domestic machines with all metal gears, so things like the Singer 319, 320, those kind of machines, the Singer 201s, absolutely amazing machines. Don't knock them because they're old, they'll outlive all of us. So there you go. So yeah, so I wanted a professional machine that would give me the zigzag and the straight stitch with the quality, and I get that out of the Singer 20U. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. I do read all the comments, good, bad, and everything in between. So yeah, take care and I will see you again soon. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.